Good morning. This is the KS3 lockdown work for Year 7, Year 8 and for Year 9 PE. Now, what we're going to be doing is giving you a project to do. It's going to be a task each week, and what you're going to do is you're going to pick a sport and you're going to be doing a different series of tasks each week on that particular sport. So, the sports that you can choose from are football, basketball, rugby and netball. Okay, so you're going to be choosing one of those sports, and that's going to be the one that you're using every week for the tasks that we set. Yeah. So pick the one that you're most familiar with, the one that you are comfortable with, or if you want to give yourself a bit of a challenge, maybe pick one that you don't know too much about. So if you were supposed to be doing basketball next or rugby next in your scheme, how about pick that so that you can learn a little bit about the sport, whilst we're obviously not at school and we can't do anything. So you're going to pick that sport, and the first thing that you are going to do is you are going to create a piece of work. So this can be on Microsoft Word, or you can write it down, it's up to you, and it's going to be about the rules of your sport. Right? So you are going to research and list 5 different rules. So if you're playing it in a lesson, or you're watching it on the TV, or you're playing a game for a team, 5 different rules that are used. So for example, if it was football, it might be offside. If it was basketball, it might be double dribble. Rugby, it might be the backward pass. Netball, footwork, for example. So those are some that could get you started, and you're going to explain these rules and why they're in place. So if I took netball and footwork for an example, that rule is in place so that people don't move when they have the ball. They are only allowed to take one step. They have to establish a 1 foot on the ground, then that other foot can pivot around, and that means that nobody moves when they have the ball. Yeah. And then have a little think about what would happen if that rule didn't exist for that sport. So if we didn't have footwork in netball, that would mean that people could move with the ball, there would be no consistency, there could be cheating. So that rule makes it better for the sport and more consistent, so everybody does the same thing. So you're going to do that with 5 rules. You're going to tell me what the rule is, you're going to explain what it is, and tell me what would happen if that rule wasn't there in the sport. Now, the last part of the task for this week is going to be you coming up with a fun variation of a rule. So let's say you are in charge of football, or in charge of one of your sports. You're going to come up with a new rule that you would play by. So for example, it could be that in football, or no, I'll use a different sport so that you can't copy what I'm saying. So for example, in American football, which is one of my favourite sports, you could have a rule that I don't know, everybody could touch the football. Yeah, at the minute, you only have certain people who are allowed to. Everyone could touch the football in American football, for example. Yeah, so you would come up with a new rule that would be completely different, that would change the way the game's played, and you're going to describe it and tell us how that would make the game more interesting. Okay? So you can do this on Microsoft Word, you can type it on your phone and screenshot it, you can write it down, take a photo. However you upload your work onto ClassCharts, that's your task for week 1, and you're going to put that onto ClassCharts for us, and we're going to mark it and give you some feedback.